let's start at the very beginning. How do you become an entrepreneur?
Okay, so I'm in my 50s. So the journey probably started half a century ago. And as a child, my father was a financier. So in the house, there'd be entrepreneurs coming to the house and speaking to my father about all their big dreams. And I was this tall, and I would sit down next to him and I would listen. All kinds of dreams. People who had one or two travel agencies, who ended up, by the way, having the biggest travel agency chain in the world. People who were doing theaters, all kinds of stuff. And so when my parents asked me, what do I want to be when I grow up? I said, I want to be a businessman, which I didn't know the word for entrepreneur. So anyway, but fast forward, that was sort of, I guess, the beginning. But the spark, I think, happened in my first job. So I worked for a different media group than this one, but it was a division called the Economist Intelligence Unit. And I bought them an idea. I said, I've got this great idea. We should do a particular product. And I brought it to the management, and they said, no, that's crazy. That's a crazy idea. I said, oh, okay. But we're going to put you into another company that we bought, and they put me alongside another entrepreneur. And this guy was actually an ex-Red Beret, which in the British Special Forces means paratrooper commando. So he kind of taught me the concept of take the hill. So I kind of got that entrepreneurial spark watching someone who I could learn from. And then, of course, at one point I turned to him and I said, Andy, the management has said no to my idea. I've just got to go off and do it myself. So it kind of sparked the first venture in my 20s.
This amazing path that now sounds like, okay, you have the Midas touch, had difficulties. You mentioned it in your first venture. What do you think has been the biggest challenge in this serial entrepreneurial journey that you can isolate and pinpoint at?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of challenges along the way. And I think when I reflect and I look at kind of entrepreneurs out there, I actually think that 50% of entrepreneurs fail because they give up too early. There are so many setbacks that you face, and it's just about picking yourself up, driving forward, not being stubborn. You can't be stubborn, you have to be tenacious, but also flexible, because there's just so many ways to get there in the path and just to keep on going. So I think I faced many challenges along the way. The list is endless, but I think any entrepreneur who made it, it was never a straight path.
How did your approach to building a team evolve as your businesses grew? And what were the key differences when in the way you structured teams when they were in a startup phase and then in a scale-up phase?
I think in a startup phase, you're beginning to hire a lot of generalists, people who can do lots of things, and you're hiring primarily for core values and culture fit. And that whole topic of core values and culture, it's all about the entrepreneur. It's the light that you shine into the world. You want people to flock to you like the moths to the light, the ones who agree with the way that you want to sort of see the world. And you kind of want to repel the people who don't away, because there's something else out there for them. So it starts with that. It starts with your vision. It starts with bringing on some people to make it happen and to take the hill. It's really all about taking the hill in the beginning, but it changes along the way, because the people who got you there are unlikely always to be the ones that get you from point B to point C and so on. So later on, it becomes an issue of going out there and finding material impact executives, people who are going to be able to structure the departments for you, scale the business, and it becomes a whole kind of new journey of leadership. And the question that you have to ask yourself, or that I had to ask myself as an entrepreneur and a leader all along the way, is one simple question. What kind of a leader do I need to become now? And the answer changes. It changes along the path, and you have to keep asking yourself the question. And the leaders that stay with you, the executives that stay with you, are the ones that also ask themselves and answer that question along the way. The reality is that, the A players want to play with the A players. And you can develop people who are a B into an A, that's possible, but you have to be very mindful about that. Otherwise, you don't really get off the ground.
In our country still, in Greece, most firms are family businesses. Okay, the same is true in Europe. They're generally smaller, around 2 times smaller than they are of the European average. And usually the president and the CEO and the owner are the one and same person. So this is factual. It's not commentary.
So I think on choosing co-founders, I would say look for someone who's not the same as you, not the same skills. You want someone who's got very different skills. You want someone who's complementary. So think about a marriage, right? In that sense, you want to have someone who's maybe not quite the same, or at least you have some complementary skills at the very least if you are the same. And I think if that's the case, then it's bound to last, right? I think it's when that sort of when that runway runs out, when you're both not adding that to the co-founder relationship, it can run into trouble. I've certainly lost co-founders along the way, and I've also, by the way, gained some amazing ones as well through that whole process. So I think it's not easy, but there's a lot of people like to start businesses with other people. We're social animals. There's more co-founded businesses than single-founded businesses, I think.